So we are, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and assembled company. Welcome to the World Storytelling Cafe. And tonight we are coming to you live from Cambridge Folk Festival. I have various storytellers around me. I have a Donald Nelson next to me. I've got Alice Walker behind, who will be fresh to the cafe, and Baden over there, Baden Prince. And we'll each do a story because it is children's night. Is Louis joined us yet? Is Louis in yet?
Yes, Louis is here. He's giving you two thumbs up.
Hello, Louis. Right. Okay. So fantastic, Louis. You're on a festival site at the moment, and so if everyone else can mute themselves, that'd be marvelous. Right. So I think I'm going to ask Baden to tell the first story. He's looking rather distressed at me because I keep dropping people into it. Baden, would you come here and sit next to me and speak into this telecommunication device? And say hello to Louis.
Hey, Louis, how are you doing?
You can hold it.
How are you?
Yes, that'd be better.
I'm here in Cambridge at the Cambridge Folk Festival. I'm sitting in a tent with John Rowe and the assembled good persons.
Oh, okay.
How are you doing, young man?
I'm good, and you?
I'm doing all right, thanks. It's nice and warm down here.
Oh, okay.
Lots of good music going on all over the place.
Brilliant.
Absolutely brilliant, it is. So would you like to hear a story?
Yes, please.
Yes. Okay, I'm not sure which story to tell. And whenever I'm stuck for a story, I normally go to an Anancy story. Do you fancy an Anancy story? I just got a 2 thumbs up from Louis for an Anancy story, people.
And 2
That's
thumbs
the best
up from
endorsement you can get.
I think really you should go and sit in the chair, of course.
This is true. Oh gosh, yes, this magnificent chair. Hold on. Oh.
Would you like me to record it? We can put it on. I mean, not record it. Yeah, but I can turn it around so that I can film him sitting in the chair.
Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah?
Yeah,
You
I
wanna...
think so.
You sure?
We're on Zoom at the moment.
So how do we turn the camera around?
We can't because you're on Zoom.
Oh,
Very
right.
carefully.
Okay, so there we go.
So I'll have to let me show you the storyteller's chair. If you can see that.
All right.
Yeah.
Yay, both.
Isn't that something?
Yes.
So this story is about this Anancy, and well, in some places they call it the story of Anancy and Guinea bird, but I like to call it the story of Anancy and vulture, because you know vulture is, his head is a bit like mine, and it's also a bit like Baba C's under that wonderful head wrap that he's wearing. In other words, he has no hair. And this story was set in a time when things were kind of tough and nobody had any food. So Anancy decided that the way he was going to get food to eat was he went and made an agreement with Father God. He went to Father God and he said, Father God, I've noticed that people all around, they're getting very nosy. They're just putting their noses into other people's business, and they're gossiping and chit-chatting. And I think we should do something about it. And Father God said, Anancy, what have you got in mind? And Anancy said, so here's what. If anybody dips their nose in somebody else's business, I think you should strike them down, take care of them. And Father God said, you know what? That's a good idea. That'll teach people to behave. So do you know what Anancy did? He went down to the hardware shop. And he got himself a saddle. And he got himself a pickaxe. And he got himself a watering can. And then he went outside town, out to the most deserted, rock-strewn, sandy, the most barren place you could imagine. And he started breaking rocks with the pickaxe. And he'd break the big rocks into little rocks and the little rocks into smaller rocks. And then he got the rake that he'd bought at the hardware shop and he started raking up all these little rocks and then watering them with the watering can. Well, the first person to come wandering along was Brother Chicken. And Brother Chicken was a big strapping fellow, big chest, big legs, big wings. And of course he came clucking along and there was Anancy watering his rocks and raking his rocks. And he said, Anancy, what are you doing? And Nancy said, I'm looking after my garden. And Brother Chicken said, garden? And Nancy, have you completely lost your mind as the sun got to your head? What garden? This is rocks and sand and dust. And Nancy looked up and said, and Father God said, and a bolt of lightning came down from the sky and knocked over Brother Chicken. And guess what? And Nancy had food to eat for a week. And when the food ran out, he went back out to this barren place and he filled up his watering can and he broke some big rocks into little rocks and the little rocks into smaller rocks. And he raked up some sand and he started watering. And along came Goat. And Goat trotted across and he stopped and he turned back and he came back and he said, Anancy, what are you doing? And Anancy said, I'm tending my garden. And Goat said, garden? What garden? You gone crazy. There's nothing here but rocks and sand. And Anancy went, looked up. Yep. And Father God said, gotcha. Lightning struck. Down went Goat. And this time Anancy had food for 2 weeks. And so it went on. But then Brother Buzzard noticed that these animals were disappearing one at a time. And he thought to himself, what's going on? Everybody's disappearing or looking thin, but Anancy's getting fat. So Buzzard decided to go and see what was going on. Out he went and he saw Anancy raking the rocks, raking the sand, watering this barren place. And he figured it out. He put 2 and 2 together. He said, aha, I know exactly what's going on here. So he went into town and he rented himself a horse. And on the back of this horse, he put a lovely saddle. And then he went riding out to where Anancy was, rode past the garden, and as he rode across, he started singing this song. All young boy, go to barber shop, get your hair cut like me. And then he took out this comb and started running the comb across his head. Now remember, Brother Buzzard is bald. He's as bald as I am, and he's as bald as Babasi under that turban. See, I told you. And Brother Buzzard looked at Anancy. He looked at the rocks and he said, ah. And Anancy looked at Brother Buzzard, but Brother Buzzard didn't ask him anything. Anancy looked and he thought, what's this man talking about? And it was on the tip of his tongue to say something to Buzzard, but then he stopped and he thought to himself, no, I'd better not. He carried on watering and raking, and Brother Buzzard came galloping by, then stopped, made the horse backtrack and started singing. All young boy, go to barber shop, get your hair cut like me. And then he took out the comb and started running the comb through his bald head. And Anancy really wanted to say to him, here, cut, what here? You haven't got, and he just stopped himself just in time, just in time. And the buzzard went down the road and he came back again and he rode past the third time singing, all young boys, go to a barber shop, get your hair cut like me. And Anancy couldn't help himself. He said, buzzard, I have to ask you, you go to the barber shop and get your hair cut? What hair? Can't you see you're bald like Baden, you're bald like Babasi? What are you talking about? And at that minute, a bolt of lightning came down and knocked down Anancy. And that was the end of his scam. And this is the end of that story.
Great, yay!
Did you enjoy that, Louis? 2 thumbs up from Louis. Yes. Take care. See you soon. I'll hand it to John.
Hey, right now, actually, I was reminded of a story. You know, we've talked about this, how one story reminds you of another story. And this is a very short story. And there was an old woman, and she was looking out of her window, and there, on a branch outside the window, was an eagle with its sort of, it wasn't a buzzard, it had a sort of nice tuft of hair sticking up the top. And of course, being an eagle, it had a bent beak. Do come in, do come in. We have a live audience joining us. We're on the
internet.
Yeah, we're broadcasting out to the World Storytelling Cafe. Do have a seat. So there's an old woman and she's looking out of a window and she spies an eagle and he's got a tufted hair at the top and a bent beak. And she looks at it and said, "You're a funny looking pigeon." And she had a very limited life experience. And so she takes the eagle in and she gets a pair of pliers and she straightens its beak.
Oh.
And then she gets an iron and she irons down the top of its head, so it's got a smooth head, a bit like Baden's. And then it gets a pair of clippers and it clips up the eagle's claws. And then that's better. Now you look like a pigeon. And she put it back on the branch. Well, another eagle came down and landed next to him and said, "You're a funny looking eagle." And the first eagle turned around and explained to him what had happened. He said, "No, come with," and then he said, "Come with me." He said, "Your hair will grow again. You know, you're not Baden." So it'll come back, and you know, and your claws will grow, and actually, I'll help you with the beak. And just very gently bent the end of the beak down, and he flied off. And he said, "From now on, don't let anyone tell you to be anyone but who you are."
Yeah.
God, it's the way story. Baden had just told a story with a bald vulture in, and I was reminded of that story. Now, who I'm going to bring up is someone who has never been on the World Storytelling Cafe before. We're at Cambridge Folk Festival. I've got this fantastic audience. Do you mind if I show them on the Zoom? These people up the back here are marvelous. They've just joined us. Give us a wave. Give us a wave. Now I want everyone to shout, "Hello, Louis."
Hello, Louis.
Hello, Louis.
Louis is our most regular listener. We have hundreds of listeners around the world, but Louis always comes on live. And then he started telling. On our Tuesday evenings, we have young international tellers. And we have tellers from India, Gaza, Nigeria, and Louis up in the Fens. And Anyone's welcomed. Any young person under the age of 25, so they range from the age of 12 upwards, is welcome to come on a Tuesday, worldstorytellingcafe.com, and tell a story. So anyway, right now, I'm going to introduce Alice Walker, who you have never met. Alice, come and join us on the chair. Well, I'll get off the chair. You don't have to sit on my lap. It's fine.
Hello, Louis, and whoever else is out there.
Hello, hello. Louis is giving you big waves.
Ah, great. Hi. Okay, the story I'm going to tell you, it's quite scary. Do you want a scary story? Scary? You sure you're up for it? Okay, cool. You up for a scary story? This story is called The Flying Head Monster. And it comes from America. The Native Americans tell this story. Back in the old days, a long time ago, there were monsters. Lots of different kinds of monsters. There were dragons and giants and things that crawled and clawed, but the worst monster of all was the flying head monster. It was so big. It was as tall as 6 giraffes, and it was as wide as 10 cows. It had big wild hair, blazing eyes, and out of its bearded jaw came these wings. And as it flew, it screamed and screeched and made a terrible noise. You could hear it coming from miles away. So people were warned. When they heard it in the distance, they were able to run away. So one day, one of the people in the village ran into the village. I've heard the screaming head monster. I've heard it. Run, hide, get in your hidey holes, get into your bunkers. You have to hide. It's on its way. And they all did. All the villagers went and hid in all their hidey holes, except for one young mother. She thought to herself, we have been bothered by this flying head monster for so long now. It's time we did something about it, so it may as well be me. So she could hear it in the distance. She could just about see it flying over the tops of the trees. She took her young baby, put her young baby in a very comfortable cradle and hid it in a cupboard. And then she prepared. She made a big fire. And in the fire, she put lots of stones and rocks into the coals of the fire and waited for them to get hotter and hotter. When she was absolutely sure that the flying head monster was looking at her through her little kitchen windows, she took a forked stick and she put it into the fire and she swallowed one of those hot stones. She didn't really. She actually let the stone fall behind her, but she did it in such a way that the flying head monster could see that she was eating this stuff. And every time she took a mouthful, she said, oh, it's delicious. Oh, this is the best roasted dumpling dish I've ever made. This is the best thing. And she took another stone, popped it into her mouth. The flying head monster was so greedy and really wanted to taste this delicious meal that he squeezed himself really small into her front door, got to her fireplace, and with one great big gulp, he swallowed that whole fire full of the red hot stones and rocks. Into its mouth it went. Ah! The screams were terrible. The screams were awful. It rushed out of her house again and went flying off, screaming. It was so loud that all the villagers in their hidey holes had to cover their ears because it was just too terrible. Eventually it was gone. And she called out to everybody, you can come out now. It's safe. The flying monster will never bother you again. And it never did.
Oh,
So, the moral of this story is that if you ever come across a monster, ask your mom, because she knows how to get rid of monsters.
way. Fantastic. Now, Louis, do we want Alice to do a Friday night for us, a whole program?
No.
Yeah, we do. Right, she's on the spot. Right, thank you. And now, Norman. Should we get Norman up, Louis? Should we get Norman next? Yeah, Norman. Right. How we doing? Right, Norman. Just sit there, sit on the chair. Tell a story.
Hi, Louis. Yeah, this is the first time I've told a story from the chair. And I bought a new hat for the occasion. Now, this story comes from England. Once upon a time, there was a farm north of London, England. And that farm was farmed by generations of a family, but it was owned by somebody who lived in London. And every year, the landlord would come and pay and get the rent. And what was the rent? It was 1/10 of everything that the farmer grew. And he was happy with that because he made a good living selling the vegetables that he grew in the market. Now, one day, unfortunately, the old landlord passed away, and his son, who lived far, far away, inherited the farm and ownership. And when he found out that he was getting 10%, he says, I'm owed more than that. I own this farm. And so you know what he did? He traveled down to that farm. He talked to the farmer, and he said, I own the land, and it's only right I should get 50% of what you grow. Now, Louis, do you think that's fair? 50%, half of everything. He didn't have to do any of the work, but he gets half the potatoes, half of everything. Well, the farmer listened to that, but he didn't get angry. He didn't get upset. He could see that the young man from the city knew nothing about farming. And so he said, what you're saying is reasonable. Okay, then I'm going to give you half of what I grow this year. What do you want? The top half or the bottom half? And the fellow says, doesn't matter to me. I'll take the bottom half. Fine, said the farmer. And that spring, he grew, guess what? Wheat. And the wheat grew well, rained well, and in the fall there's golden wheat to be harvested. When the farmer harvested the wheat, the bottom half was, what was the bottom half, Louis? Roots and stubble. Now, landlord was really unhappy. You can't trick me like this. He says, next year, I am going to take the top half. And so the next year, the farmer grew turnips. And a fine crop of turnips it was. By the way, I happen to like turnips. There are those who don't, but I do. And so I have included them in this story because I like turnips. And hopefully somebody listening to this will be converted to liking turnips as well. So when the man from the city came down to get his half of the harvest, all he got was the greens. I don't want that. That's not it. And the farmer says, fine, you wanted half. That's your half. So the young man from the city said, okay, you fooled me once. You fooled me twice, but you're not going to fool me again. Next year, I'm going to take the top and the bottom. He says, ha ha, I've got you. The farmer just smiled. I'll see you next year. And that next spring, he planted maize, or North Americans call corn. Maize with the cobs that grow in the middle of the plant. And so he harvested the middle, which was cobs of the maize, and he made a good profit. And what did the farmer get? He got roots and tassels. And he was so mad that he said, I'm giving up farming. And he gave the farm to the farmer, who was a smart man, and he should have had that land long ago. And so the young man went back to the city where he was happy, and the farmer lived on his land where he was very happy, and they all lived happily ever after.
Yes. Thank you, Norman.
And here's John.
Well, thank you, Norman. That was amazing. I think one more look at the chair, this magnificent chair. I'm going to walk backwards so you can see its full glory. Right. So I think we need, it would be a bad thing to leave the chair empty, don't you, Louis? So I think we need to fill it with a person. Should we fill it with Donald?
Yeah.
Yeah, Louis thinks we should fill it with Donald Nelson. Donald, I want you just to say hello to someone. Can you say hello to Veronica, who provided the phone? You're going to just...
Hi, guys.
Right, Veronica's very shy.
A wonderful person.
Yeah, I had no signal on my phone, and Veronica has provided the technological device for this all to be possible. Now, Donald, do you happen to have a story for Louis and the rest of the people that are listening out there?
Just so happen to have a story.
Well, can I pass you the telecommunication device?
You can pass anything you like. Hello. What are you laughing at, Louis? And Baba C. I'm keeping bad company, Baba C. It says, Mr.
How are you this time? How are you, Donald? How are you?
I am very well. I've not seen you for a few weeks. I've been very, very busy. But I'm back. And anyway, here's my story. Now, Norman was talking about growing things. And this story is about an old man. And this old man had an orchard. And in this orchard, he grew apples. And at one time, oh, the apples this old man grew in his orchard were wonderful. And he grew them year after year, and he would take them and sell them at market, and he would make some money, and he would bring it home. Now, this old man did all the work himself, despite the fact that he had 3 sons. But these 3 sons were the laziest people you can imagine. They lay in their bed till 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and then they got up and they played a bit of Xbox and they watched a bit of YouTube, and then they would have their dinner and then they would go back to bed. They did nothing. Well, the old man, he got older and older, and he couldn't tend his orchard as much as he could, but he still managed to bring some money home. And these 3 lazy boys just spent it as soon as a man could bring it home. Well, the sad part of this story is the old man took ill and he died. And his sons gave him a funeral, but it was a very basic funeral because there was no money. They didn't have any money. One day, a few weeks later, a letter arrived at the house, and this letter said, "Please attend the firm of solicitors, Astute, Cunning and Wily, 47 High Street, and you may learn something to your advantage." Well, the 3 brothers were so excited, and on the day, they put on their best clothes, their best suits, and they tied their ties, and they had a shave, and they They washed their hair and brushed their teeth, and they all walked down. And as they were walking down to the solicitor's office, one brother was thinking, I bet father leaves most of the money to me because I'm the oldest. And the middle one said, I bet father leaves all his money to me because I'm the most handsome. And the youngest brother thought, I bet that my father leaves all the money to me because I'm the youngest and I've got longer to live, so I'll need money to get by. Well, they got to the solicitor's office and they walked in. And a very glum solicitor said, hello and welcome to our solicitor's office. I'm going to read the will that your father has had me hold for him for many, many years. And he took out a brown envelope, and this brown envelope was sealed with a wax seal. And the brothers thought, oh, this looks very, very important. I bet he's had secret money hidden and he's left it to us. And the other brothers agreed. Anyway, the solicitor opened the envelope very carefully and he took out a letter and he read it. And it said, I, Joseph McAllister, McGobligan, McSmith, McNicky leave to my sons all the treasure that is buried in my orchard. And the three brothers looked at each other and they said, treasure buried in the orchard?
Oh no, he was so excited he got frozen.
I bet
Like
he's Team
Terminator, he'll
Elsa.
be back.
Do you think he's Team Elsa or Team Anna?
With Elsa, only if she has her heart.
Not Elsa. Team Elsa or Team Anna.
I
You're
know
getting
I
it
was being,
all wrong, and I think it's on purpose.
no, I was paying homage to our storyteller named Elsa.
Yeah.
Yeah. You and I have been, we're gonna have to stop as soon as they start back, but you and I have been behaving lately. What's wrong with you?
Good. We're really good. I think Louis impressed us with his being good, and it's made us be a bit good too.
Oh yeah, Louis is he's a good example.
A
You're
good-
right.
Great example.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Captain Louis.
Yeah.
I'm reading your shield. You have a Captain American shield.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you're Captain Louis. Uh-oh, we've lost transmission.
Yeah, they'll perhaps be coming back on. Meantime, I went over to see my friend Nasruddin, and when I got to his house, he was throwing powder into the air. I said, what are you doing? He said, I'm scattering cinnamon powder. I said, why are you doing that? Are you mad? He said, no, this is to keep the tigers away. It's World Tiger Day today. I said, there are no tigers here. It works, doesn't it?
It works. I've heard so many versions of that. I love it.
Millions of
I
versions.
wonder if it will work on politicians.
Oh, if only, eh? Bit of cinnamon, away to go. Do you have a quickie
Think I'll
like
put
that
some-
to keep filling in? Really quick, little one to fill in? Or is Louis, have you got a little quick one to fill in?
Yes.
Go on, then.
I think it's about me and it's my three friends. So once upon a time in the castle, myself is in the castle with the king. Those are kings and princes. It was King Harold, the good friend. And good morning, Your Highness. We got a massive problem. Oh, okay, Louis, Sir Louis tonight. What is the problem? And I went, Your Majesty, someone has stolen someone's crown. Oh, you beg your pardon? Where? Oh, Buckingham Palace? Buckingham Palace? Yes. Oh no, I had to make my good thinking Henry the Eighth. Anyway, can you give me the eighth, please? And I said, yes, I can.
Mhm.
I had a good meeting with the little kings and queens. But so I'm such a Queen Victoria and Elizabeth and Mary, of course,
Of course.
and all the kings and princes as well. King George the First, wow, he's amazed. But his son, King George the Second, came in. With his son, King George the Third. And he sent King George the Fourth. Then in the middle of the meeting, we saw Curricula. And I know this, and Nero. And King Harold, of course. And King William the Conqueror.
Yeah.
Whoa. It's not overwhelmed. So we are in the meeting room, having a little talk about the meeting. Where's the crown of Buckingham Palace? If someone stole it. The good news is lost. Someone in the big man in red has stolen it. And this young boy named called Nancy, he went, oh, excuse me, sir, I'm a little bit lost. A little bit lost. Can you help me, please, sir? Of course, Nancy. That's my name. Of course. I know everyone's name. Where are you going to? Nancy? We need to wait to the post office and post a letter to my grandma. The post office is actually cancelled. Can you take it to the hospital? Yes, please. Can I take a taxi? No, there's no taxi allowed. A little bus? No, it stopped. I'm saying, I'm not walking. Is there anything else? I'm just walking. I had to say this. There's something wrong in the right works in the path. You can't walk there. What? I'm not shooting my shooter in the road. No, that's not allowed. You have 2 big wheels instead. Oh, a skateboard. No, it's not 4 wheels. Something with 2 big wheels. Oh, a hoverboard. No. I don't have one more guess. Every time the answer. All right, a sheep. I mean, you what? A sheep. No, it's an animal. Belongs to my friend Donald on his farm. That's it. I'll give you the answer. But okay, what is it? Your cycle. Your new bicycle. Bicycle. I don't have bicycles. Is it the small wheels? Yes. Oh, it's a bit of a dealer bikes. Oh yeah, I love bikes, and I want top skier. Oh, do you want top skier? With the best of Patty McGuinness. Oh yes, I love Patty McGuinness. I want him on top gear. Okay. And I want Patty McGuinness and Strictly. Oh, they were not Strictly, hey? Oh yeah, I love Strictly. I want Patty McGuinness. And I die in luck because I die when I talk to my colleagues. I would die with VIP ticket.
Okay,
We're back.
we're back.
Oops.
Hello,
Hey, Louis,
everyone.
they're back.
Right, so Donald was about to explain what happened when the nasty brothers, which were incredibly mean and selfish, went back and they and what happened then?
Well, thank you, Veronica, for getting us back on. Anyway, the brothers left the office and they ran down the street and they got home and they burst into the garden shed and they all got a spade each and they ran to the orchard and they dug from one end to the other all the way, and each one was thinking, if I find the treasure, I'm going to just cover it up again and then I'll come back for it tonight. And my brothers won't know and I'll have all the treasure for myself. So they kept digging and digging and digging and digging until they got to the other end of the orchard. And there was nothing. And the brothers said to each other, they've tricked him. The old man has tricked us. He's played a joke on us from the grave. And they threw down their spades and they went home and sat in the house, and somehow they managed to get by through the autumn when the rains came and the wind blew, and through the winter when the snow fell and it melted into the ground, and in the spring buds started to appear and pop open on the trees and they became flowers, and the flowers became tiny, tiny little apples, and the apples get bigger and bigger and bigger. And the brothers noticed all these apples. Look at all these apples, they said. Oh yeah, I've never seen so many apples in the orchard. Well, what are we going to do with all these apples? Look at them. Then one brother had a genius idea. Why don't we sell them at market? What a great idea, said the other brothers. And when the apples were ready, they went out and they picked them and they took them down to market and they sold them and they got some money. And they said to each other, "That's amazing. We got that just by picking apples." And the other brother said, "No, not just by picking apples. I remember we used to see Father digging in the orchard. And when I heard about treasure, I thought that was he was burying the treasure. That come back to me, he's burying treasure. But no, I think the treasure he was talking about was the apples on the tree itself." So from that day on, the three brothers weren't lazy anymore. They dug through over the orchard every year, and the rains came and soaked into the ground, and the trees drank it and produced the buds and the flowers and the apples. And from that day forth, the brothers tended the orchard, and they could get all the money they wanted, and they could buy the latest edition of Xbox, but they didn't have time to play it. They were too busy growing apples.
Whoa. Thank you, Donald. And we are at a folk festival, which well, I like to think of it as a storytelling festival that has the odd bit of music, but that's my bias. And we are lucky enough to have with us, they have just wandered into the flower garden, a duo they told me their name and I've forgotten it altogether. What's your name? The Sparrow Down. The Sparrow Down. And they have agreed to sit here with their instruments and play something for us. Do we want that? Yes. So there's no time for tuning. It's good. It's a sort of good enough for jazz moment. We're so fantastic. So there we go. Now, right, I'm gonna. Now, just how yeah, just have it on whoever. Just move it backwards and forwards across them. I don't know.
Let's see. Have we got both? There we go. If I stand like that, that'll be good.
Yeah.
All right. So it's just like that's why we'll do an American song called "The Ballad of." No, it's not. It's called Wild Bill Jones, which is a murder ballad. Yeah. As I went down the road to take a little walk, I came across that wild bill. He was walking and talking by my true love's side. Before to leave her, before to leave her alone. Instead, his age is plenty on to want to be gone. So I pulled my stone down by my side. Destroy that poor boy's soul. Destroy that poor boy's soul. Well, he reeled and stumbled and he fell to the ground and gave out a dying. Well, I threw my arms around my true love's neck. Honey, you left her. Honey, you're all alone. The journey you will hold me must be unbound. Oh, my love letter, yes, honey, come my honey, come my well, my bed is $1,000. That's a debt I can never repay. So I wrote my letter. Yes, honey, come home someday. Honey, come home someday. We'll come home round and round her. If you got enough for the spare, I'll buy us some more liquor. Drinking will be your friend. Yes, drinking will be your friend. Today was last of that wild Bill Jones. Tomorrow is the last for me. Tomorrow is the last for me.
Wonderful.
Whoa. Wait, how was that? Now, Baba C, you are allowed to comment. Would you like to
The
say anything about
American-
young musicians?
The American approves.
Yeah, you are. Yeah, your American
Yes.
is allowed to comment.
Yes, the American approves, and I especially no disrespect to the guitar, but I have a special affinity for the banjo because it was invented by African slaves trying to recreate their own instrument from their original homeland. But you guys, the American approves. You guys were great.
Honored. I'm honored. Thank you so much.
Right now, so it's been a magnificent evening from Cambridge Folk Festival. Thank you, Sparrow Down. Whoa, big round of applause for Sparrow Down. Whoa, and thank you to our tellers, Baden Prince, whoever he is, and
Hey,
Alice
John,
Walker. Yeah, you want to
may
say
I
something?
interject
Baba
one
C?
thing? I've been confused because everyone's talking about Alice Walker, and I've met Alice
I
Walker.
know, it's a different Alice Walker.
I know. That's what, and I wrote in the comments in the chat, because she's a great Alice Walker, but the Alice Walker in America is the one who, among other things, wrote the book, The Color Purple, which became a
Color
motion
Purple, yeah.
picture. Right.
Yeah.
So Alice
So-
Walker,
so, yeah.
evidently, if your name is Alice Walker, you got to be a great storyteller.
Yeah, it's a name to cover, isn't it? So Norman Perrin, and who else have I got here? Oh, Donald Nelson. It's been a great evening. I've been John Rowe. You know that anyway. Why am I saying that? What we got coming up? Well, we got Babasy himself telling stories next Friday, 6 o'clock. Of course, at 5 o'clock, we've got our young international tellers. Whoever you are out there, if you're under 25, come onto the site and tell a story. And Louis, you can tell a story next Tuesday if you want. And this Sunday, we've got at 7 o'clock, we've got the worldwide story round, which I might or might not be able to get onto, but I will introduce it. Meantime, thank you very much. And thank you, Kamal, for driving the magic carpet tonight from the World Storytelling Cafe in Marrakesh. So we're there from Cambridge Folk Festival, and it is goodbye, good night, good afternoon, wherever you are in this big wide world.
Bye, see you, John, Mr.
Thank you, Kamal. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Hang up now.
He's gone. Here we go. Bye, guys.
Bye, Donald. Bye, Babsy.
Until the next time, Louis. Until the next time, Kamal. And when you guys see me next time, I think I will be a year older, but I'm still celebrating all of August.
My mom wants to. My mom called Judy. She wants to say something to you, Babsy.
Happy birthday for Thursday, Babsy.
Thank you. Thank you. In Washington, D.C., we have a celebration called Watermelon Day. There's a national one and there's a local one. On the local one, we also celebrate my birthday. That'll be next Saturday. And not this Saturday, next Saturday. And I'm looking forward to that. I celebrate all month long. I'm turning 70. I find it very hard to believe, but yes.
Very hard to believe. I think you've made a mistake.
And you have a wonderful son. You have a wonderful son. We have a mutual love going on, so that's great. He brightens up my day.
Thank you.
All right. So I think we need to let
my mum is now 60, by the way.
darling.
She had her birthday on January.
Yeah,
So
thank
she's
you.
all right. You know,
Babasy,
I know Kamal. Yes, sir.
I wish you a happy birthday. Okay.
Thank you.
It's a Friday, a happy Friday, and I wish you a life full of blooming, blossoming, sparkling, beaming, and everything beautiful, flourishing in this universe, in this world.
Thank you, Kamal. Thank you. Asante
You're
san.
welcome.
Thank you very much.
Welcome, bro.
All right, we're gonna let you go now.
I want to say something as well.
Okay.
Happy birthday for your
Thank you.
birthday. You're my favorite storytellers ever, and I watch you every Fridays. And you in my heart, and I always listen to you on every Friday evening. Thank you very much.
All right.
Babasy.
Yes, sir. You're my favorite Louis.
Thank you.
Okay, Louis. Babasy, if you.
Yes, sir.
I wish someday to be in Morocco, in Marrakesh, and to celebrate this another birthday.
Ooh, that would be great.
Wow.
Well, maybe we can do an early celebration when I get there next year for the festival.
Wow, why not? It's a good idea. Yeah, it's a good idea.
Yes.
And I want to finish with something. I want to see you happy birthday in Darija, in our accent, in our language. Sana Saida Babasy.
Oh, wow. I am so blessed. I am so blessed.
This is my gift to you. This is my
Thank you. Thank you.
Maybe next time when you come, I will safeguard it. I will keep the gift of today.
Okay.
Until February. And
all right. Thank you very much. You have a great day. So, and thank Ali and everybody else, but have a great day. Louis, keep being Louis. I'll see you next week.
I'll see you next week.
All right.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye. See you. Bye.
Bye.
Until the
Bye.
next time.
Yes.